Welcome to This Explainer. I'm Michelle Williams. If you're getting ready to list your home, especially if you've been living there for decades and you're looking at a major life transition like downsizing, well, I know firsthand just how overwhelming that whole process can feel. Selling a home after 50, it's a huge milestone. So my goal today is to help make one specific part of that journey completely stress-free for you. We're going to walk through the home appraisal process together, step by step. For a lot of sellers, the home appraisal feels like a total mystery box. I mean, it's important, right? It carries a lot of weight for your sale, but it often raises more questions than almost any other part of the process, mainly because rarely does anyone actually sit down and explain what's happening behind the scenes. So it's completely natural to feel a bit of anxiety about it. But let's go ahead and open up that box and take a look at what's really going on. At its core, an appraisal is simply an independent opinion of your home's market value. When a buyer needs a mortgage, their lender is the one who actually orders this appraisal. And why do they do that? Well, if a bank is going to lend hundreds of thousands of dollars against a house, they need concrete proof that the home is actually worth that amount, just to protect their investment. For you, as the seller, this is really the moment your listing price gets tested against actual, real-world market data. Now, I want to reassure you right away about who the appraiser actually is. The National Association of Realtors puts it perfectly, stating their sole duty is to reach a fair and accurate valuation. Basically, they are a licensed, totally neutral third party. They don't work for you, and actually, they don't work for the buyer either. Neither side can pressure them to hit a certain magic number. Their only job is to just look at the facts. So before they even pull into your driveway, where do they start? Well, appraisers look first at something called comparables, or comps for short. These are just recent sales of similar homes right in your own neighborhood. The appraiser is going to pull these local sales and then adjust the numbers for differences in things like square footage, the condition, or special features. And here's the thing to remember. These local comps carry more weight than almost anything else when it comes to the final valuation of your property. Beyond looking at those local sales, the appraiser is going to do a physical walkthrough of your home. During this visit, they're taking meticulous notes on your square footage, your layout, and the overall condition of the house. They're definitely checking the big-ticket items, the roof, the foundation, and your mechanical systems. Kitchens and bathrooms naturally draw extra attention from them, mostly because buyers weigh those heavily too. They'll also look at your lot size, garage space, and any thoughtful upgrades you've made over the years. Let me share a quick story that perfectly illustrates how to handle that upgrades portion. Think about a homeowner in the south suburbs who was selling a house she'd owned for 20 years. About 5 years earlier, she replaced her roof, and just last year, she updated her kitchen. Great, right? But when the appraiser actually arrived, she spent a highly stressful morning frantically digging through old emails, just trying to find her receipts to prove the costs. We've all been down that digital rabbit hole before, but we definitely want to avoid that kind of last-minute scramble. Honestly, a little preparation goes a remarkably long way here. Let me give you a few simple, actionable steps to empower you before their visit. First, just clear the clutter and turn on all the lights so they can easily see and move through the space. Make sure they can get to the attic and the basement without any trouble. And remember our homeowner from the south suburbs? You can prevent all that stress by just putting together a simple physical folder of your upgrade receipts, the dates, and the costs. Leave it right on the kitchen counter. Finally, if you have pets, secure them so the home is nice and quiet. A calm environment just lets the appraiser focus and work efficiently. Now, you might be wondering, do I need to do major work before they arrive? Please, take the pressure off yourself right now. At this stage in the game, completing small repairs is so much more important than taking on stressful, huge renovations. Fixing a leaky faucet, patching up a little drywall crack, maybe replacing a torn window screen. These small things signal to the appraiser that your home has benefited from careful, ongoing maintenance. You absolutely, positively do not need to remodel your whole kitchen just for the appraisal. And speaking of where to put your energy, I want you to keep this in mind. Flashy curb appeal actually matters much less than most sellers assume. Seriously, you don't need a perfectly manicured, magazine cover yard. However, obvious visible neglect, like a sagging gutter or a deeply cracked driveway, that can definitely work against you. So just focus on fixing the obvious issues and let go of the pressure to be absolutely perfect. Let's look at the timeline really quickly so you can build this into your schedule with confidence. After your contract is signed, the buyer's lender will go ahead and order the appraisal. The actual in-person visit usually only takes about 30 to 60 minutes, which is almost always much faster than homeowners dread. After that, it generally takes about 1 to 2 weeks for the final written report to make its way back to the lender. Knowing this predictable timeline helps you plan your days, without having to anxiously hover by the phone. Okay, I want to address a very common fear right now. What happens if the appraised value comes in lower than the price you and the buyer actually agreed upon? First off, just take a deep breath. A low number is not automatically a disaster, and it certainly doesn't mean your sale is doomed, not at all. If this does happen, you actually have several practical options. We can request a reconsideration of value, especially if we can provide some missing comparable sales that the appraiser might have just overlooked. You can also renegotiate the price with the buyer. Or, if their financing allows for it, the buyer can even choose to cover the difference in cash. This is exactly where having a knowledgeable real estate agent becomes an invaluable guide. They help you smoothly navigate this hurdle so you don't have to figure it all out alone. When you really understand the steps, the appraisal stops feeling like this scary test you have to pass. Instead, it transforms into exactly what it is: a predictable, totally manageable checkpoint. With a little bit of preparation and the right guidance, it is entirely under your control. It's truly just one more task crossed off the list on the way to your next beautiful life chapter. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. If you're weighing what comes next after the appraisal, I warmly invite you to visit our free resource library. We've got practical guides covering everything from downsizing to all sorts of senior living options. And if you'd like to understand a bit more about how I can help you personally navigate this transition, please feel free to visit the Homeowners 50 Plus page. You really don't have to do this alone. I'm always here to help whenever you're ready. After all, what if the true value of your home isn't just the number on an appraisal report, but the freedom it unlocks for your next great chapter?